Alright, update on JASMY. So as of the time of recording this, we are down approximately 1% on the daily. You can actually see from the wick that we tried to put in all the way up here, we are down approximately 16%. So it looks like we're having a correction today. Let's talk about it. I'm going to jump into the lower time frames and then I will finish on the higher time frames because I believe while the lower time frames are saying one thing, the higher time frames are much more clear cut and they do point to higher price targets in the macro term. So let's jump into the lower time frames. If we start off with the 4 hour, you can see in the past 12 to 16 hours or so, we have found a local top and we are coming down pretty harshly. If we come over to the daily, you can see we actually had this rejection at your 618 Fibonacci. So not the greatest sign in the macro term that we did come up to the 618 twice and have a harsh rejection, and we are now coming down. In my opinion, not the greatest thing that you want to see, but I will talk about the bullish signals later on in the video, and I think they outweigh what we are seeing with the rejection of the 618 Fibonacci. Nonetheless, lower time frames. 4 hourly squeeze mom in the last 8 hours, bears have lost control of this. In the past 16 hours, really, that came in this morning, you can see there was a ton of selling volume to initiate this downtrend. Unfortunately, since then we have seen selling candles that have been growing very, very slowly in terms of their bearish momentum. Not looking too good, but the 4 hour is kind of saying we have support at this 4 hourly EMA, so we could find support at the short-term moving average at 2.3 cent. We could even find support at 2.2 cent. I do see us coming down to probably about 2.2 to 2.3 cent anyway. We're in the high 2.3s as of the time of recording this, but like I said, take what I say in the lower time frames with a grain of salt. The higher time frames have much more confidence built around them, and they're much more trustable in what you can kind of see on the higher time frames. You can see fake outs and moves like this on the lower time frames all the time, but the higher time frames don't change too often. So lower time frames, like I said, rejection from the 618. We also have a area of support at this previous local high. Let me mark this a different color. I'll mark it blue, so we know it's not like a support or resistance. I do the same thing with my fibs. My fibs are all orange, so if you see an orange line on the chart, it is a fib of some sort. If you see a red line, it's a resistance, horizontal resistance. If you see a green line, it is a horizontal support. But yeah, nonetheless, we do have support actually coming in to this local high that we previously saw, coming into the short-term moving average as well. So between 2.3 and 2.2 cent, I think there'll be a lot of confidence in the market for buyers to step back in. But what happens if this rejection from the 618 was your top? What happens if we had an impulse, a move down, a retest of the 618? And by the way, drawing your fibs, if you have a retest of the 618 and a rejection, you are technically speaking bearish. And then if you move below the 786 fib, close a daily, the downtrend, or the uptrend rather, is done, at least in terms of this low to high Fibonacci we're running off. So not the greatest sign in the short term that we are having a rejection from this point. And as I did get in, where did we get in? We literally got in down here just before 1.8 cent. If you remember watching my videos a couple of days ago, we literally bought the exact bottom. We bought the exact bottom once we bounced on this line down here, and I told you in that video I would be taking profits if we came up to the 786 and had a rejection. We did that, we took profits. I then made a video the same day in the evening as we came back down to these levels and put in a higher low. I told you I was jumping back in the market, and since then I think we got in approximately around here. We've been on a massive rally. So we came up to as high as 57% profit. We are now unfortunately only up 32% profit. So no matter what happens with this trade, now personally, I am expecting something like this to happen, where we come down into the long-term moving average, short-term moving average, whichever one it may be, and then have a big impulse to the price targets I've been talking about for the last couple of videos, which are up here. We're talking about 175% rally up to 5 cent. If I get that line back, you can see I want to make sure that I'm going to be walking away from this trade with at least some profit in case Bitcoin turns sour and decides to have a big rejection to the downside and JASMY follows. I would like to make sure that I am walking away with money on this trade. So where could be the last level I'd want to see us hold? Down here at the 786 Fibonacci. So if I move this down to the 786, I am going to include a stop loss in this trade that I am going to move up to 1.921 cent. Now, the reason for this trade is, first of all, I do not believe we are coming down here. In the macro term, I think we're about to have a reversal within the next 10% or so to the upside. However, if I'm wrong and we do reject from this point and we start, having a very, very solid landslide to the downside, I want to make sure no matter what happens, I remain profitable on this trade. So worst case scenario, I'm going to walk away with 7% on that trade. Now let's jump into the higher time frames, because like I said, I do not personally foresee us returning to these levels. That is just my opinion. If we look at what's going on the daily, we have seen a large influx of selling volume, which is not necessarily the best sign, but the bread and butter of this video is the fact that the squeeze mom is still pushing to the downside. The bulls are still in control of this macro uptrend, and I don't want to go through again every single time we've had a momentum shift on the squeeze mom just to show you how powerful it is, but I will show you the last time we had one of these bearish downtrends turn from light red to dark red. You can see it was here on the 28th of February. The squeeze mom fired that the bears were losing momentum. We were approximately here, and we proceeded to push up 2x from the point where this called that the bottom was in. So, we did actually go lower temporarily, but we actually went up 2x after we fired this signal, and you can see we topped off round about here. So if you were purely trading this, we topped off on the 26th of March, right here actually. If you were trading this purely based on momentum shifts, that would have been a 150% increase on the last momentum shift we've had to the upside. Since this momentum shift we put on the 16th of April, we're currently only up 33%. I think we have a lot more room to move up in the macro term. However, I do need to make sure that all my trades are profitable. That is what I like to do. I am a swing trader, I'm a short-term trader. However, I am willing to see the price target all the way up to 5 cent on JASMY. What I'm not willing to see happen is to wake up, find out that Bitcoin has had a tank, and that we have wiped the floor with JASMY's previous levels. That's not what I want to see. That's why I'm going to include a stop loss. It is very, very conservative. I could have moved this up and been like, oh, I'll take 26% profit. I'm only walking away with 7% profit, just underneath the 786. That is basically what I see going on for JASMY right now. As far as I can tell, we are still in a huge macro uptrend that has just initiated. So I really wouldn't be looking on offloading my JASMY bags right now. I did consider taking profit after we did come and have a very harsh rejection from the 618. My gut is really telling me take profit after this rejection, but the technicals, especially on the daily with this squeeze mom, are telling me that I would be making the wrong decision if I took profit while we are still very much moving up and gaining bullish momentum. So I still think something like this is going to play out where we have a bullish momentum shift. I will update you, because if we have something like this come in the next couple of days where we see a big light red candle indicative that the bearish momentum has reset and the bulls and the bears are coming back in control, then I would have to consider taking profit. That would be a different video. However, from what I can see, we're in such a big macro uptrend that I do not think that would be the case. In the 4 hour, we're still above the EMA ribbons. We are losing a bit of momentum, so I do expect some turbulence in the short term. That is why I'm putting a stop loss down here at 1.9 cent. I want to make sure no matter what happens on this trade, I do walk away with profit. However, I am not going to be taking profit. I will only be stopped out in a profit. I will only be looking to take profit once we come up to 5 cent. That is really all I see. We're still very bullish for JASMY. This is a well-needed correction on the way, in my opinion. I just don't like how it happened to coincide so clear-cut with a double rejection off the 618. That is just my opinion. That's why I'm going to be slightly cautious from here on out and make sure I have my stop losses in order. So if we do come down and sweep the floor and make new lows, I'll be walking away with my profits, and then I'll be looking to re-enter JASMY if we do potentially come back down to these lows, which I don't think we're going to do, I'm going to keep hammering this point in. I'm really just being conservative with this stop loss. I don't want to wake up and find that JASMY's broken through the floor and done a 40% dip to the lows. I would rather, you know, cut my losses and walk away with a 7% profit. However, I am seeing this trade through, like I've been saying in my videos. I do think we're coming up to 5 cent. I'm not changing on that now, especially when the daily squeeze bomb is still pushing up very, very strongly. That is all I've got for you today. As far as I can tell, this is just a healthy correction on our way to the upside. That's all I've got for you for JASMY. If you like the content, please like, comment, and subscribe. Share it with your friends. Once again, none of this is financial advice. It is just my opinion on the market, and you have always got to do what's best for you. Cowboy out. Peace.